Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
What's going on, fight fans? Rob Smith back again for Combat Sports UK. I'm here with Cage Warriors lightweight and fellow T-sider, Leon Arms. Leon, how are you, mate?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good. Usually when I do these sort of interviews, it's usually when a fight's got coming up, but I don't believe you've got anything coming up. Is that correct?
Not really sure what I can say, to be honest. But
we'll leave it at that bit. We'll leave it at that. It's a little bit of an idea. There might be something coming up. Fingers crossed. Hopefully soon. It's been a while since we've seen you in the cage. I believe March was your last fight, was it?
March, yeah, March.
I think I'm sure the fans are dying to get you back in the cage, mate. I'm sure. So we'll kind of just jump straight into your career. You're very young in your career, 2-0 as a pro, and I saw, I think it was either a TikTok you did or an interview you did a while back, and you said you only had 4 amateur fights, which for an amateur is very low, and you said how you didn't really want to go, you didn't necessarily want to go pro that early on, but you had an opportunity to go out to California and MMA Fight Academy, and that was something you couldn't turn down. Kind of talk me through that whole process and how that all came about.
So yeah, I was just have an amateur fight. Like I say, I only had four at the time, and the plan was just keep training, keep amateur for another year and a half, build experience, and then eventually turn pro. But George got a message, said I've got opportunity for Leon there. When's he turning pro? And they were like, oh, we're not thinking about turning pro yet. But when I heard about the opportunity to go to America, train, turn pro, I just thought I'm gonna go for it. Might as well, you know what I mean? I am 4-0, but I had plenty of boxing experience. I'm not 4-0, four fights, 3-1. I had plenty of boxing experience, and I just thought, let's go for it. Sometimes you gotta take a risk.
Well, yeah, I think it's like an opportunity to train out in California with some amazing minds over in America. I think in the UK, MMA is not as big, as not as much opportunities in the UK. MMA is huge in America. There's so many more opportunities, and I think for a young fighter like yourself, it was a golden opportunity. Was the decision to because you kind of spend a lot of time in California, was that a hard decision to make, to move from home to go to somewhere completely unknown to you?
There was a little bit of I was only 20, thinking I'm gonna be living out in California, training to do my camp for 3 months. I haven't really lived on my own before, so it was a bit it sounded like a big daunting thing, but at the same time, I was just excited to do it, to be honest. I was like, yeah, let's go. I get to go to America. It was like a dream come true.
Well, I think imagine a lad, because I'm also from Teesside, I'm from Stockton. Imagine a Teesside thinking look, I live in California now. It doesn't really happen, does it? Not many people from around here.
It's unheard of. So when the opportunity came up, I was like, this has to be done. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for us lads around here. You know what I mean?
Well, you put you, George, Harry, all those guys, Joe, and you put MFA. You're putting Teesside on the map for MMA, and it's unbelievable what you see, because I've been such a fan of the sport for a long time. We've not really had the representation, because the Northeast, I feel like we're like the fighting people. If you know what I mean? I think you get the Southerners, they're all right, but the Northeast is where it's at, mate. You know what it's like. The Northeast, where it's like Newcastle, Sunderland, of course we do. And I think it's unbelievable to see what he's doing. I think it was George's performance over the past couple of weeks was unbelievable. Great title defense, clinical, mate. It looked unbelievable considering the timeout, the injuries he's had. He looked fantastic.
Unreal performance. He just absolute shutout, complete shutout.
100%. And I saw Harry's kind of hinting at some fight news coming up soon, so fingers crossed we can get an announcement for that very soon. And so we'll talk about the MMA Fight Academy, because you've got a few guys over there. You've got some standouts, and there was one fighter who I've interviewed at Cage Warriors Newcastle who stood out to me, and that was Jack Humphreys. And he's kind of had a sort of different trajectory than you have. He had a very long amateur career and but what sort of benefits do you see from just going pro and just taking that jump? What benefits in your game have you seen since you've moved to MMA Fight Academy? What improvements have you made?
Well, initially, just the fact that I was going out there with loads of other pros, and it was like, right, you're pro now. Just that in itself flipped a switch in my mind, where I felt like I just, I was more dialed in, I was more locked in, and just the thought of that I felt like I just improved off the fact that, right, you have to improve now. It's sink or swim. You're in this big gym in America, opportunity of a lifetime. Training with these fighters, you're gonna have to level up, and you're gonna have to do it quick. So I just trained hard, tried to get better as much as I could, and did.
Well, I guess it's a golden opportunity, man. I think it'd be hard to say no to it. It really would. I couldn't imagine someone came to me and said, "Look, you get the chance to move to America and train with some of the best fighters in the world." I'd be like, "Well, yeah, where do I sign?"
Yeah,
Like
that was
it's
exactly it, man. I was like, I'll sign that, boss, get me there.
we kind of spoke off record about like you're going to spot your teammates over the weekend. We've got Chase who's fighting tonight in the main event, and you've also got some other lads on the Manchester card on Saturday. So with the MMA teams, he's all support. Like I'm assuming is there all kind of like a tight knit of like brothers now? Is there a team? Is they all seem very tight together, and you all seem to really want to support and like back each other?
Yeah, 'cause the main thing is when you live with people for 3 months at a time, on and off for a year, you know, you get close with them, you're eating with them, you're sharing a room with one of them, you're training with them, you spend every hour of your day with each other, to be honest. So you end up just building a good bond with the lads, and they're all top lads, to be fair. You know, not a bad thing to say about any of them. So we're all on the same journey as well. So when we're there, we're all locked in, we're all dieting, we're all training hard. So it just makes that bit a bit easier as well. So yeah, you build up a good connection with them. So when they fight, you get nervous. You get nervous for them. You want them to win just as much as you want to win. You know what I mean?
We've talked about MMA Fight Academy. We'll also talk about MFA because that's where you kind of got your start. It's a up and coming gym. You've got like George and Harry Hardwick who are just the Cage Warriors stars. Two times like, they're both champions. Like that doesn't happen. Two brothers simultaneous champs. That does not happen. And they're both unbelievable personalities. How has life been at MFA and how much you enjoy training there?
MFA is home. You know what I mean? MFA is where my heart is. I love MFA. The lads there. And like you say, Harry and George, just out of this small gym, have become two world champions, brothers at the same time. Bringing up other fighters, me, Joe. We've got loads of good amateurs coming through now as well. And there's a lot of young lads who haven't fought yet, 15, 16. And as soon as they get a bit older, I'm telling you, they're going to be a problem because they're picking it up like that.
And like you kind of spoke about your boxing background. What kind of influenced you to even just start combat sports altogether? Not just boxing or MMA. Like what kind of influenced you to start combat? Did you just like fighting?
When I was a kid, I'd always be having a little scrap on the playground or something like that. Wacky warehouse, the fun houses.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
undefeated in the wacky warehouse. I actually have the title. No one's ever beaten me. But my dad always liked boxing. He'd always, you know, I'd be watching the boxing with my dad. He was like, "Come on, let's do a bit." He'd always have me on the pads a bit when I was a kid. And he was like, "Do you want to go to my old boxing gym?" I was like, "Yeah." One day I was 8 year old, went there and I seen the vibe, everyone hitting the bag, sparring. And I was like, "I want to do this. This looks fun." And then ever since then, I just trained.
And do you have like a particular favorite fighter to watch?
I used to love Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. I used to watch his highlight reel every single day, and it'd have that Seven Nation Army song behind it. And I used to watch it every day, train. I'd try and copy his left hooks on the bag. Yeah, Triple G was like my idol when I was in boxing. Like,
And like outside of like fighting, is there any other things like you're a Borough fan? Do you go to the games or like do you fan of football? Is there much else to do outside of fighting, or is it mainly just fighting for you?
mate, honestly, now I don't really do anything. I just go to the gym, train, come home, probably have a nap or play a bit of Warzone. To be honest, that's all I do, and then train again on the night. It's just rinse and repeat.
What I want to do next, I want to do a little bit of a blind ranking. So I've got five fighters, all lightweight and below weight classes, and we'll kind
Right,
of see how it goes. Right, we'll start off with Frankie Edgar.
Frankie Edgar, blind ranking. Oh, I don't know who else you're gonna pick. I'm gonna put him 3.
Three. Okay,
You know,
right. Next we've
he's
got
a hell of a fighter, isn't he?
oh, he's unbelievable. I love Frankie. We've got Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. I mean, it depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about Conor McGregor and how he's impacted the sport, and would this opportunity to go to San Diego even be a thing if it wasn't for Conor McGregor? You don't know. He's one of my favourites. I mean, skill-wise, I'm gonna put him 2, just because I'm a big
2.
fan of him. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of him.
Right, next we got Jose Aldo.
Jose Aldo. Ah, thing is, I know he slept Aldo in 13 seconds, but Aldo is one of the GOATs as well. He is one of the
100%.
greatest of all time. Do you know what? I'm gonna put him 4, just because it'll annoy Harry and George.
Right, next we've got Khabib.
Khabib. Do you know what? Khabib is one hell of a fighter, but he only had four title fights. You know, he retired early. We didn't really get to see, him against a lot of other fighters I'd want to see. Put him 5.
And finally, I think you've done quite well here. Finally, Demetrius Johnson.
Demetrius Johnson, number 1. There you go. He's the
I-
GOAT, isn't he?
You know, I think that actually is a pretty good list. The only thing I think I'd swap is probably Aldo and Edgar.
Yeah.
But I think that's a pretty solid list. I think you're right about Khabib. I think Khabib. I don't get me wrong. I think Khabib's unbelievable, but I think when people put him in the top 5 of all time, he's had 4 title defenses. How?
Yeah, he just didn't do enough. Do you know what I mean? He probably would have.
Oh, it could have easily been there, but he just didn't.
Yeah.
The longevity has to be accounted for here. Like that's why, like I think, as much as he might have had his controversies, to me, John Jones is arguably the GOAT because longevity. He's been around for so long.
John Jones, for me, if someone's cheated, you can't be in the GOAT discussion. You know what I mean? If
No,
you got caught for
that's
steroids-
fair. That's a fair opinion. I think I respect that opinion. I think that's a very fair one. I think so. If who is your top 5 GOATs? And if we take out, say that you can't have John Jones because he's tested positive, Anderson Silva's tested positive. Who would you have in there?
Demetrius John. I don't know about 5.
We'll do 3. We'll do 3.
Demetrius Johnson, George St. Pierre, and greatest of all time. Let's go. Do you know what? I'm just gonna say something random.
You say yourself if you want.
No, I'm gonna say. No, you know what? I'll say George Hardwick, the Cage Warriors GOAT. There we go.
Perfect. That's a good answer. Right, and finally, this is the most important. This is my last question. This is probably the most important question I could ask a T-sider. You walk at the Manjaros. What palm are you ordering?
What palm am I ordering? It's either gonna be. I'll just go for the classic. A classic.
I'm a classic.
One.
I'm a classic man myself.
Do you know what I mean? I keep it simple and I get it done. But if I'm gonna mix it up and I'm gonna get toppings on it, I go for the tandoori chicken.
I like that. Yeah, I'm not. I don't really do the bolognese. I don't like bolognese. I'm not really a bolognese guy. I think
I'm not a bolognese guy either.
I don't like pepperoni, so I don't do hot shots. I only do either
not
classic.
too keen on that either. Yeah.
I do either hot. Tandoori chicken. I don't mind, but I'm quite bored. I just like a classic meat. Classic with loads of garlic sauce, sorted.
Manjaro sauce on top of it and all.
100%, mate. That's it.
Unbelievable. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
100%, mate. Well, I want to thank you for your time, mate. We'll hopefully get to see you soon. Hopefully get a fight announcement very soon, mate. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Nice one, mate. Cheers for having me.